I think the way that we best serve ourselves is by losing ourselves in the service of others.
Welcome to I Share Hope, the podcast where world leaders share their real stories of hope and how you can use actionable hope to start changing your life today. And now, here's your host, Chris Williams.
Ryan, you there?
I'm here.
So Ryan, the dude Weimer is what it says here on Skype. That's just the coolest Skype name ever.
That's me.
I love it. So where you at, man? Where you at right now?
I'm at work.
Oh, killer. And where in the world are you?
Oregon.
Oregon, man, you're pulling a late one. Well, it's not too late there. I guess, what is it, a couple hours? It's 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock, yeah. Well, I'll be here till midnight, though. Where are you at?
Memphis, Tennessee. Hey, can you get video on here?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm looking at you in an old. There you are. You don't have. Where's your under the water helmet? You're the Captain Nemo. Like.
That was a sweet find at some museum that we went to.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
All right. So you're in Oregon working. It's already dark, and I'm looking at the storm blowing outside. Man, there's like a tree going crazy back there.
Yeah, it's been windy and rainy all day.
So you're a nurse by day, and am I right that you make? Well, I'm going to get to that in a second. You're a nurse by day, right?
Nurse by day, yep.
And by night when you're pulling a double shift.
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes, yeah.
I understand that. So here's the description, and this is what makes you so much fun. I can't wait. In fact, my administrator, who kind of puts all the guest stuff together and makes sure each show gets produced, she sent me a Skype earlier, and she said, "I can't wait for this interview. I'm so excited for you, Chris. He's one of my favorite guests we've had yet." So,
wow, that's cool.
I'm going to read the second part of what you've written here. "I cling to hope and happiness and know that no matter what comes my way, if I just hang on to my faith, do right and good, things will work out the way they're supposed to. That's me, a simple, regular dude. I love life." Ryan Weimer. I love that. Love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for writing that. The other part of this is, for those of you watching this or listening, Ryan also produces epic costume wheelchairs for kids. This is so fun. You've got to see his Facebook page and his website. And so we'll get to all that detail in a second, but the pictures are amazing. Like the Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon. Like, you got a kid riding Toothless in his wheelchair.
Yeah, that's my son.
No way.
Last year, yeah.
Oh man, so that was last year, like a few months ago, Halloween, or like 2014?
No, so 2014, yeah.
Wow.
And that's really what. Well, the idea for Magic Wheelchair started when we built the very first one for him.
Yeah.
And then, the actual Magic Wheelchair nonprofit really took off.
Okay.
After we did Toothless.
So I'm going to come back to that in a second. So tell me about this background noise. I hear the radio going. You sound like you're a cop.
Well, I work at a correctional facility for youth.
Yeah?
And I'm the only nurse here right now. So technically I'm on my lunch, but since I'm the only nurse here, if there's an emergency, I have to respond.
Okay. So we might have a part two to this interview.
Yeah. Hopefully things will stay smooth.
That's really cool. I'm glad you're doing that. I think that's a great place for you to be, especially just knowing a little bit about you now. Okay, so you created this chair for your son, and tell me a little about, like, your son's in a chair. Has he been in a chair for a long time?
Yeah. My kids have a form of muscular dystrophy called spinal muscular atrophy.
Okay.
And about the time that kiddos are walking, my son was cruising around in a chair.
Wow.
It's a powered wheelchair that he learned to drive, and around the same time that kids begin to walk too. About 2 years old, he was driving, and 3 years old, that was his first year with his wheelchair and his first Halloween, and he wanted to be a pirate, and I sized up that chair and I was like, I bet we could build a pirate ship around that thing, and so we did.
That's so cool. So I'm not trying to understate or overstate a disability like that for a kid, but I am trying to just make a point that we all have our quirks and we all have our pros and cons based on what people say are pros and cons. And I think you've made a lot of fun in that realm. And for me, my pros and cons are different than your son's or yours or your wife's or my wife's. And, some days I got to turn what look like the lemons that I've got to deal with into lemonade and have some fun. And I think that's really cool. So have you done this for other kids then? How many other kids are you working with now?
Yeah. So this last year, 2015 Halloween, was the first year that we Magic Wheelchair, the official 501c3 nonprofit, existed, and we were able to build for our first batch of kiddos, and we made 8 different costumes for 8 different kids.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
So what kind of costumes?
Let's see. We built a Quinjet from Marvel's Avengers, the Avengers.
Of course,
Agents
why not?
Of Shield.
Yeah.
2 Mario Karts.
Okay.
A Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle van.
No way.
An ice castle with Queen Elsa in an ice castle. A SpongeBob boat.
And the kids dream this up?
Pokemon. What's that?
The kids dream that the kids request? Like,
yeah, it's whatever the kids want. Whatever the kiddos want is what we make. And then we made this kind of it was a ballerina costume. There was like this swan that was kind of wrapped around her chair, and it was great. So we built locally in Oregon here.
Yeah.
And then 6 of them were built for kiddos in Oregon between Portland and Eugene. And then a school back east in Georgia jumped on board, and they wanted to build a couple for some of their kids in their community.
Yeah.
So they built 2 high school classes. I think there was about 60 students that participated and helped build these costumes, and which is awesome. I mean, if you can get kids involved, doing something like this for other kids,
absolutely,
looking past those stigmas and those barriers that we often have when we look at people that are different, we can break those walls down. And,
no kidding.
Yeah, so
I'm looking at your
awesome.
Facebook page now, and I see some Star Wars going on here, man.
Yep. There was, I think his name is Ryan.
Yeah.
Ryan Miller. He built this. You're probably looking at it right now. He built this snow speeder from Star Wars for his son.
Exactly. It's awesome.
And there's a lot of people that build costumes for kids in their wheelchairs. And Ryan, when he made that's just what he does for his son. And I contacted him through Facebook, and we chatted on the phone. I asked him if he'd want to help build for other kids through Magic Wheelchair, and he was super stoked. And so Ryan's on board. He lives in California, and he's going to help establish a team in California and build for some kids in his community too. What's super cool about these costumes, like Ryan's experience too. What's the actor's name? I can't believe I forgot. Mark Hamill. So Mark Hamill tweeted something to Ryan about Ryan's son. He said, "Man, he looks more like me than me." And
no way.
Mark Hamill reached out to them, and they had some conversation. And I don't know if you're the TV show Marvel Agents of Shield.
Absolutely.
So Hunter, we built the Quinjet for Hunter, and Marvel Agents of Shield. They sent him this video message. The whole cast is sitting on this couch, and they welcome him to the Agents of Shield and tell him, "Hey, Hunter, welcome to Agents of Shield," and send him a bunch of swag. And we've had a lot of that stuff happen with the kiddos and their families, as people see, and different companies that we build, what their inventions, their creations, and turn them into these costumes for kids. And they love that. People love seeing that and reach out to them, and so it's cool. I mean, it's really a beautiful thing in so many ways. You know, the people that get involved and the community that gets involved. These kids aren't excluded anymore. You know, why they're superstars.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. It's a great experience for them, and it's an amazing experience to see.
That's so cool. You're like Tony Stark. You're like nursed by day, but you're building
That's right.
robots around people by night. I love it.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, so we had 7 different teams build these costumes, and all of them are phenomenal, talented people. That's really cool.
Really cool. All right, man. So you ready for some questions?
Yeah, fire away.
All right, here's how we do this. We're asking 1,000 people around the world the same 5 questions about hope, and we're trying to get a true cross-section of global population. So for every 1,000 people or so, sorry, back that up. Every 8 million people or so, you get one representative on the survey. So thank you for participating. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. So here's what we're after. Question 1. What's your favorite quote or definition or your belief about hope? Any way you want to put it together?
You know, I'm a Christian, and I think one of the things that has impacted me, I mean, my faith is my rock, and I'm a terrible scriptorian, but Christ said something that basically that he's overcome the world, and that we can take hope and courage that if we follow him that we can do the same. He says, in the world you shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer, for I have overcome the world. And that's my hope, is that through Christ, through my faith, that really, no matter the circumstances, I can overcome tribulation, trial, and become better, at giving back. I think that's what trials are for, is to help build us up and help us to be better people and better to give.
That's well said. The world's got a nice long list of things that I don't think a lot of us like about it, and some great things a lot of us love about it. But I think it's a great point that we can overcome that. And I was raised the way you're thinking, and I struggle with that back and forth. But I'm not discounting it. I'm just struggling.
Yeah, people struggle all the time.
But I appreciate you bringing that up. I appreciate your honesty. That's great to hear that. Question 2 then, who shared that kind of hope with you in your life? Who's really infused that in your mind and your heart?
I think, you know, my parents have really set a great example of hope, and, you know, have role modeled to me how we respond, and when times are tough and when times are great, just holding on to that faith, and continuing to do good and strive to do good despite circumstances.
That's great to hear.
And, you know, yeah, so my family is definitely, and my wife, you know, is, we've been through some rough times, and she's solid.
That's awesome.
A lot of great support.
I bet she'd say the same about you. It's hard to find these days. It really is hard to stick it out. So tell me, question 3, take us back and kind of paint the picture. Tell us the story around some times for you, your family, whatever, however you want to go. This is your story, man, not mine. When it's been really, really hard and you had to lean on the hope that you're talking about to get through, and how it got you through.
So I have 5 children, and 3 of them have been born with spinal muscular atrophy. And really, we have a 75% chance of having healthy children. And for some reason, that wasn't in the cards until our final child, that he's about a year old and is healthy. And, it's not like we were okay with whatever child we were given. People say, well, how come you kept having children? That's pretty crazy. And, we like children. We feel that's a way that we can give back. We can help raise children and have a good impact on the world. And my daughter, she passed away about a week shy of her third birthday. And I don't know of anything harder than losing a child. And I wouldn't wish that on the foulest person on the earth. And that was probably the hardest time of my life. And yet, in those very moments of grief, that really cuts the core, I find hope. I know that I'll see my daughter again. I know that she's in a place where she's not disabled anymore. And I have this image of her running and jumping and dancing. And
yeah. Thanks for sharing.
Rooting me on to do good and plow through whatever comes my way, and I continually find hope. I'm never without hope, and because of what I know, because of my faith, and I'm never without hope. I always have hope. I know it's a reality to me that no matter what comes, if I just hold to my faith and do what I know is right and good, and reach out to others, that things will work out. However they're supposed to work out. That's not always my ideal, but it's someone's ideal who's far smarter than me. And I'm never without hope. No one really is. It's a reality to me.
Thank you. Thanks for being that open. I wasn't expecting all that. So I've got so many questions. So many feelings. You have 3 kids with, is it muscular dystrophy? Is that a version of that? Okay. And 2 that did not have it, and one of the 2 that did not have it passed away, or is one of the ones who did have it passed away? Where are you at here?
So,
I'm just
3
trying
of
to
my
get my
children
count.
were born with muscular dystrophy. My daughter, our second child, she passed away through just complications with
the disease,
muscular dystrophy.
Okay.
And what's crazy is, so our third child had this even more rare abnormality. That I mean, if you think about how an embryo develops, and it's amazing that 9 times out of 10 things work out. I don't know if that's 90%, but anyways, it's amazing that more times than not that babies are healthy. And so our third child was born with this even rare thing called anencephaly, and his name was Eston, and the prognosis is not good. They typically don't live through the whole birthing process. And I remember sitting in the ultrasound room, and getting, the ultrasound tech stood up and just out of the blue and left the room. Hey, Chris, how much time do you have, man? Because you can always just say, hey, man, I need you to stay on topic.
No, you're okay. Keep going. We got time. This is important.
So he stood up and left the room, and me and my wife looked at each other. And I'm like, well, that's it can't be good. and they can't tell you anything. They're just the techs. So they have to give the information to the doctor. Well, the tech comes back in and tells us the doctor wants to talk with us in his office, and now we really know something is wrong. And we go in there, and he tells us about anencephaly. And I mean, I guess you have options, but we'd rather give our child a chance. Whatever it's supposed to be is going to happen. And so he and that whole time, that whole 9 months, we my hope was that I'd be able to hold him for a few minutes before he passed. And that wasn't the case. My wife said that she could feel him moving around, through that process. And but for whatever reason, we weren't able to see him and hold him when he was still alive. But I don't know, maybe some people think this is odd, but I held my son anyways. And as challenging as that is, I just remember feeling this hope and peace in that hospital room. Again, experiencing something that's extremely challenging and emotional and cut to the core. And again, just feeling that hope. And almost as equally as my sadness was that sense of comfort and hope. Anyway, so our first two children were born with muscular dystrophy. Eston had something even more rare. And then Bryce, who is 4 years old, he has muscular dystrophy. And then Thatcher, our youngest, is a healthy boy. His name is Thatcher Rex. So my oldest son wanted to name him T-Rex. And so we had to come up with a T name. So Thatcher Rex. But you got to be careful what you name your kids, because he is very T-Rex like.
I love that.
Oh, cute kid.
Well, thanks for being so open.
Yeah.
That's number one. That's a lot of information, a lot of heart, a lot of feelings. How do you? I hate to be too logical, and if you listen to a string of any of these other interviews, I'm not at all pro or con the way you're working through this. This is not about me. This is about you, right, and about what humanity's doing with this thing we call hope. But when I think kind of logically, and I'm not even sure I should be using the word logic in a podcast or a research project about hope, right?
Right. Well.
But I think there's some activity, some steps that we can go through, and we'll get to that question in a minute. But just on your story and you really leaning on your faith, and I hear the faith comment come out a lot in these interviews. I guess that's not surprising. How do you take something so real and so in your face and so part of your daily existence that is tangible, that's causing heartache, some laughs, some tears, but a lot of work and a lot of, how do we do this? How do you take something so tangible and remedy it with something so ethereal or more of a belief system that's not, you can't fix it with money, or you can't fix it with a product or a new health and wellness plan. In 60 days, you're going to be all better. There's no life coach for this thing,
Well, I think oftentimes we have the wrong idea of what faith is, and it's not what we do, it's who we become. And that's what my faith allows me to do, is to become something more than what I would be were I left with my own devices and my own understanding, I guess, is what it allows me to become. So, I mean, logically thinking, it's hard for me to kind of distance myself from my faith and try to imagine how I would handle those things. But I think we always have a choice between feeling hopeless and hopeful, And I guess I don't know what would influence that, what would allow you to cling to hope,
you don't
logically speaking or tangibly speaking, but
it's okay.
Just hopefully just a choice of choosing to be positive as opposed to feeling derelict and lost and no hope. I don't know. I just would have a hard time understanding why people would. Maybe they don't even know they have a choice. Maybe the world around them is so broken down that they feel like there is no choice. But I think we always do, despite circumstances.
Yeah,
we always have a choice to do something. I mean, we can choose how we respond to and feel to things.
Yeah, and hopefully somebody like you around to remind us that we have a choice, because maybe. Some people, I think, seem to have that in their heads and their hearts, and they start hoping and they won't give up. And some people need to be, like me, need to be told a little more often, keep going. You got this, That's great.
Just got to hang on.
Yeah.
Hey, my phone's going to die. I'm going to go grab my charger.
You got a charger? Yeah. Well, I'll look at the window. I'm watching the storm. Okay. These are the fun moments that we get to just wait and watch the window. If you're listening to the podcast, I'm watching the wind blow outside a window with a blue backpack hanging next to it. If you're watching the YouTube video, you see his arm. He's got his cable ready. He's crawling into the desk.
Going in.
There's a utility panel on the back wall that says danger. The wind's blowing like crazy. The tree's whipping against the window, and there's a big box that says danger.
This place is super old too. It's been around for I don't know, probably way longer than I've been alive.
Looks like you're in a utility closet. It looks like the hurricane just hit your room. No, there we go. Okay. So, thanks for answering question 3. Phenomenal answer.
Yeah.
Great answer. I really hope this is able to reach a lot of people who are not just dealing with something that's causing a little bit of a drain on hope, or they know somebody who's losing a little bit and need to pump it up some, but I'd love to get this out to people who are really in the same boat you're in, because you're, as a parent of some kids who have some special needs, that's a pretty That's a unique story and a unique journey that a lot of folks have no idea, like me, what that really entails. So thanks.
My brother, when Addison died, he asked me, we all grew up in the same household. We went to church, and he's lost his way and has some different ideas, and he asked me, he said, "Man, why are you just not shaking your fist at God and being so angry?"
That's a great question.
And yeah, I mean, I think people often, that's kind of this knee-jerk reaction when things happen, and but I haven't found anything else that gives me that same sense of hope. Why would I shake my fist at the very thing that allows me to feel that hope, that has allowed me as a person and as a journey of spiritual growth to become a type of person who can find hope and when things are rough,
Good answer. That was the first question that came to my mind when you started telling me your story. I was wondering why you weren't ticked off at God. So thanks for answering that one. Again, I'm not here to question what you're believing, but I really do appreciate your honest approach, because I don't think many people are willing to be that honest about the stuff under the hood, Question 4. How are you sharing hope with people around you today? Obviously, you're doing the magic wheelchair thing. We talked about that, and we'll point everybody to the websites, Facebook, all that. But what do you do when you walk across the street? You're going out to get your paper or your mail. You're heading to Starbucks. What do you do with people around you out of your genre? Not a special needs kid that you happen to pass in the mall, but your coworkers, whatever. These kids in the juvie center you're working in. I mean, how do you deliver hope every day?
That's interesting. I just a young man just showed up tonight who was on parole and messed up, and I just try to share with people that life is a beautiful, beautiful thing, that you don't always have control of your circumstances around you, but you do have a choice of how you deal with those circumstances, and you really are the master of your own destiny in the choices that you make. We can choose to become better people, and we can choose to become a better positive influence on our communities and society by making good, wholesome choices. Oh, I don't know. It just goes back to choice. I really feel that we have this beautiful ability of free agency and ability to choose. Despite circumstances, we still have this ability to choose hope and progress and growth, as opposed to the alternatives, sadness and hopelessness and giving up, or a lot of these young men here of using drugs, or things that
Sure.
aren't so uplifting and beneficial.
Yeah. Great answer. I love that. I love having a choice. I'm so glad, because I feel like it's too hard some days. In my past, it's been too hard, and I want to quit, like check out, pull the trigger. But as long as I'm breathing, I have a choice. I'm not. If you're in a war and somebody pulls the trigger and you get killed, that's different. But when you're the one that has a choice, you have a choice, and you can choose so much good.
Yeah.
And even if it's just, I'm going to stick around today and talk to a friend, and then I'll figure out tomorrow when tomorrow comes. That's a great choice. It's a step in the right direction.
What's cool about that too is, our choices really impact other people around them. So that person that's having a hard time holding on and they decide to hold on one more day, someone else that next day makes a decision to, I don't know, smile at this person that's struggling, or call them up out of the blue, and then that person has 4 more days because this other person made this choice to, maybe they're tired, they came home from work and they had this thought to, I need to call Johnny,
Yeah.
I haven't talked to him in 3 months, but I'm really tired and I need to make dinner. But they take that time to call Johnny, and they just provided Johnny with 4 more days.
Yeah.
And then day 3, someone else makes a choice to impact that person. I mean, we're really all connected.
Yeah, we are. And one choice impacts another. That's so true, man.
Yeah.
Question 5. So we're gonna hang up the call here in a little bit, and I'm going back. I've got kids at home. You're got to finish your shift, and then you head home. So tell me, as a learner and a listener, a student of Ryan, what am I going to do next? The simple ABCs. How do I either grow in hope myself, or how do I share hope with somebody else? What are the simplest things I can do next? You've already said some of these things.
Yeah, I think a lot of what I already said, but like the magic wheelchair thing. I'm not a business guy. I'm not the smartest guy ever. I'm just, like I said, just a regular dude. But I found something that had an impact in my life and my kids' life and my family, and I saw how it affected the community, and it was something that was good. And I think when we find things that are good, or we strive to do things that are good, or whether it's a talent or not, we need to share that, figure out a way to share that feeling with other people. And I mean, the magic wheelchair thing it's been super, super hard and challenging, and but man, I'll tell you what, those smiles on those kids' faces, and I know the experience that we've had as a family, and I can, I've been to every one of the reveals except for the ones in Georgia, and saw those smiles.
Wow.
And I got choked up every time because I just, saw this heartwarming smile of gratitude, and just them being super stoked. And it was just this simple thing that we did. I mean, we just made a costume for my son, and it ended up turning into magic wheelchair and impacting 8 other kids and their families and the communities they're in and the builders that built for them. And so we need to, despite challenges that we have, let's rally and do some good. Find some things that you're good at doing that can impact your communities for good, or your family, or your spouse, or your kids. And I think sometimes we become so me, and we forget I think the way that we best serve ourselves is by losing ourselves in the service of others. I know that myself, I feel more at home when I worry less about myself and think about others, and whether that's my spouse or my kids, or as I'm able to lay those things aside, life is brighter. I remember this job I had. I was a forest firefighter, and I got these new boots, and they were really hard to work in, and my feet were so swollen that the first day that and the work was hard, and it was long, and it was hot, but I thought about my wife, I thought about why I was working, and thought about my family, and what me being able to work was able to do for my family. And it changed that experience from being terrible and awful and torturous to, man, I'm able to provide for my family. And it changes that. I was able to shift that focus of how terrible that was to how beautiful it was allowing things to be. And I mean, I'm not perfect at that all the time. I'm far from a perfect dude, and I struggle just like anybody else. But I try to practice those things that I strive to become, a person that loses myself for others, and that serves myself better than me serving myself, if that makes any sense.
It does. I think that's the clearest explanation of that I've ever heard. And I think you're right, and that's personally very challenging to me. And I'm glad you're saying it, because I need to hear that. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You're one of the I hate to use this term, but I'll put it in quotes, the manliest guys I've talked to in a while on this stuff. I've not heard another man share that much emotion in a while, and I really do appreciate your authenticity, because a lot of guys, we're pretty good at stuffing it and not dealing with the crap that's going on, honestly, with the feelings that come along with it, and the healing that comes along with being open to, Thanks.
Yeah, I have the opposite problem of, man, I tear up, man. Doesn't take much for me.
I think that's a healthy condition. I really do.
I mean, I got choked up watching Saving Private Ryan, and
who didn't?
That's a pretty emotional.
That's
show.
For real. That's the real thing, man. I did too.
Yeah.
All right, so a couple of random questions that are just pop. Well, first of all, website. So let me look here. I think what I've got written down here, and anybody listening in, I think you can go to Magic Wheelchair, MAGIC WHEELCHAIR.org, or on Facebook, it's facebook.com/Magic Wheelchair. Is that right?
That's right. Yep. Magic Wheelchair. Yep.
Cool. And you really got to go check it out. I'll have all the links and anything else we can find, some pictures, video, all that kind of stuff on the post here on iShareHope.com. If you just look for Ryan's name, probably going to put it on there as Ryan the Dude Weimer. And anyway, check that out. And we'll have links to everything about Magic Wheelchair as well. And I know there's lots of ways you can get involved there. There's, if you want to donate, from what I've seen, you could. It's a 501c3, so it's a legit nonprofit, and you can donate if you don't have the ability to build a chair or don't have somebody in your immediate path that needs one. You can sure pitch in, because there's a lot of kids who'd love to be wearing one of those cool things around. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's awesome. It really has a huge impact on those kids and their families.
Okay.
I mean, oftentimes they're excluded and left out, and not with those. They you know what's so cool too is the barriers that it breaks down, even temporarily. The barriers that are broken down create this bridge, or this connection that people kind of latch onto for the rest of their lives. They'll remember that kid that they saw cruising around in the Ninja Turtle van, and the conversation they had with him, and how cool of a kid he was, and they'll be able to carry that with them anytime they see somebody that's different or in a chair, and be able to approach them with that same confidence or comfort that they did before. So it's really cool. And we definitely need help. And this next year we want to build, I'd like to build at least 25 chairs, and we want to build all across the country. And we we're going to do just what we did here. We're going to set up teams. They're going to be instrumental in finding, if we haven't found somebody already in their community, they'll help us pick a kid in their community and rally the community to help fundraise. And
awesome.
We want community serving community. So that's what we want to do, is we want to grow across the country and really across the world. We have volunteers, people that are chomping at the bit to build and be part of Magic Wheelchair all over the world. So that's what we're going to be doing over these next few months, is putting teams together and getting the ball rolling for. We really want to build year round, not just a Halloween thing, but
yeah. Why just Halloween? Yeah, there's lots of days that are good for wheelchair, for cool outfits, no matter what they are.
Yeah, and plus, some of these kids, we don't know how much time they have. They might not have till next Halloween. So
yeah,
let's build them something.
So this is listened to in over 40 countries. No matter where you are hearing this or watching this, if you know somebody in your community and want to hit one of these things up, hit the website, reach out to me on social media at Chris Williams HQ, or to Ryan on Facebook. Obviously, it's probably the easiest way to get in touch with him. Facebook.com/Magic Wheelchair. So if you could get, if Tony Stark calls you, the guy who, he's fictional, but come on, if Tony Stark calls you and he's put Iron Man the metal costume in the closet, and he's bored, and he's like, man, I got an extra $1 billion, and I was sitting around thinking, what in the world could we do with a wheelchair? What's the holy grail of wheelchair, just maxing it out? Where does this thing go?
What's really cool with what we're capable of doing now, is we have the Stan Winston School of Character Arts. They're part of our board, and they're a huge part of Magic Wheelchair. They've been a huge part of Magic Wheelchair since we started, and we did our Kickstarter to build Toothless. That was before Magic Wheelchair, but that's when we did Magic Wheelchair nonprofit as our stretch goal.
Yeah.
And so Stan Winston is the Stan Winston Studio, which is now Legacy Effects, multi-Academy Award winning studio, responsible for Jurassic Park and Aliens and Terminator and Avengers and
amazing.
Just big, huge movies. So for all our builders, if we have this email feed, and when they have questions on their builds, because we want animatronics in these, we want the kids to be able to interact with their environment, with their costume.
Yeah.
And so buttons and levers and so as we get better at doing this and provide more time for our builders to do things, we also have these mentors that they're like the Brad Pitts of the special effects world. These guys are Academy Award winning special effects guys, phenomenal knowledge base, and they're mentors for Magic Wheelchair.
That's awesome.
And so sky's the limit. When we were setting the bar for how much our costumes were going to cost, I was thinking, Toothless was about $2,000, and we're like, oh no, man, you need to, $5,000 is probably where you need to shoot. And that's because these guys know what can be put in these things, with animatronics and bells and whistles and lights and sounds. And,
I love it.
It's awesome.
I'm looking forward to jetpacks.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that for me personally, and I think the way that functions, I don't think that has a whole lot to do with, do my legs work like everybody else's or not. I think that just comes down to jetpacks and wrist control, best I can tell.
Yeah, just a little controller.
Dude, that's perfect right there, man. That's totally wheelchair magic.
Yeah.
Love it, man. Thanks for sharing the extended lunch hour and shift and the night you're spending. I really appreciate your time. I know many people that are listening do too, and I can't thank you enough for joining the community.
Well, thanks for what you're doing. What a cool thing to do, man, to research hope. I think it's an important thing that we all need to have in our lives, and what we can have. There's always hope, Like even in the deepest, darkest pits, I think there's still hope if we, choose that or strive for that or come to that, Oh, thanks for your research project, man. It's awesome. Doing what you're doing.
It only works with people like you, and it gives a lot of hope to me. I'm the most selfish guy on the block, that's for sure, because I'm the one who needed some hope and some encouragement. So I get to sit here and talk to guys like you, and it's fantastic. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime, man.
All right, enjoy it, and I'll be looking forward to the jetpack soon. And if I bump into Tony Stark, I'll send him your way.
Yeah, do that.
Okay. Have a good night. Thanks.
You too, brother.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, there you have it. Ryan the Dude Weimer, as his Skype name says. So he's got this magic wheelchair thing going on. You really should check it out. magicwheelchair.org or on Facebook /magic wheelchair. We'll have it on isharehope.com under Ryan Weimer, and also if you want to jump over to any social media channel that we're on at Chris Williams HQ, I'm sure you'll be able to find that somewhere. Just look for the handle Chris Williams HQ at Chris Williams HQ, obviously, or if you're on Facebook /Chris Williams HQ, and then search for Ryan Weimer in there, and we'll make sure you can get in touch with this story. Join us there as well. A lot of the guests chat around on our Facebook, and we'd love to get you in the conversation. If you're involved in anybody who's got a physical or mental handicap that's considered something that would be restrictive in normal society, that we would call normal, every day coming and going and doing life the way the average person does it, and you found a way to generate hope or share hope, or if that's you in that position and you're sharing hope outside of your quote-unquote restrictions, as some people view them. Sometimes it seems like the people we talk to are actually using those as springboards and benefits. I really wonder if the normal people that don't have an outward disability are actually the ones who aren't as free as the people who may have that disability. It seems like a lot of people with the disabilities are using those to just do incredible things and bring awareness to incredible situations. So if you're doing that or know somebody like that, or if you got somebody in your family you're working with, if there's anything like that you want to share, I would love to hear about it. Not just somebody that we can tell the story about, but if you've got something going on in your world, I want to hear about that. Please reach out and tell me how you're growing in hope or how you're sharing hope. I would love to find out. Thank you very much. Been great talking to you. Thanks for being part of the community. I really appreciate you hanging out with me. It really is exciting. It's fun to see somebody like Ryan who's got this going on. He's just cranking it out day by day. Not a Superman, just a regular guy. And that's worth seeing. Really is. Jump in. Let me know who you are. Thanks. Talk to you soon.
You've just listened to I Share Hope. If you're ready to make a change, head to our website at isharehope.com and claim your free copy of the Top 10 Actions of Hope from World Leaders to use hope in your own life. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.